All right. So yeah, all these people were demoted simply because Cyril and Constantine had a little dispute. Now, from my standpoint, and from what I've heard, basically one of the developers, Mr. Return, a programmer, he wanted to get 5% removed from him. He no longer wanted 5% of game revenue. Um, so Quantity decided he was going to give it to himself until one of the animators was 2 weeks into the group because Quantity can't give the animator 5% um until that person has been in the group for at least 2 weeks because of a new Roblox update. You can't even pay out to anyone unless they've been in your group for 2 weeks. So he was just gonna hold on to that 5% until that person, that animator, was in the group for 2 weeks. Zero and Def did not like that, and they decided instead of talking it out with Quantity, they instead wanted to just say fuck you. Basically, you have 2 hours to give Zero ownership of the entire group, Discord, everything. Basically, Zero would have like you know full ownership of everything, and then on top of that, Quantity would also lose some of his percentage. I can't give you the exact number, but he would lose a good bit of his percentage simply because they did not like him having 5% when he was going to give it 5% to the person when they were able to even obtain it, because they can't get it until they've been in the group for 2 weeks. So Quantity was just going to hold on to that. He wasn't aware that it would cause such a commotion, such a big deal. Um, yeah, he wanted to talk it out. He wanted to say, "Yo, I'm sorry, whatever, blah blah blah. I'm going to give the 5% to the animator." They said, "No, you have 2 hours to give me ownership of the group, give Zero ownership of the group, and on top of that, you remove percentage. They remove some of Quantity's percentage. Additionally to that, they feel entitled to that simply because apparently, I'm not sure if this is entirely true. Zero has spent more money onto the game. Now, even if that is true, for whatever reason, let's just say Zero did spend a lot more money on the game, or it contributed a bit more. That does not change the fact that they agreed on something. Constantly brought Zero on as an investor. That's the only reason Zero was brought into the project, because Zero, quote unquote, has a lot of money, and they wanted Constantly wanted that help. Right? He agreed to a percentage, which was later throughout development of the game was later increased to a certain amount. They were fine with it, but as soon as they were given a reason to, they decided to lash out on Quantity and just basically blackmail him into giving them the ownership of the group. And then additionally to that, they would decrease his pay and then decrease his percentage and spread it amongst each other. If you ask me, I say that's a pretty shitty thing to do, and which why I decided to side with Quantity. Not only did you agree to having the percentage you agreed to, you went months. This game has been in development for months. You went months without saying anything. If Cyril really wanted ownership of the group, he should have been talked about this before before the game even released, before all of this development, before everything. He should have talked to Quantity. They should have came up with an idea. Hey, I actually want ownership of the group. I feel like I do this. I deserve it. We should do this. Rather than waste months of time just to leave and threaten blackmail him. They waited all this time to do that. And in my opinion, I don't think that's right, fair, or anything. You agree to something so you can't go back to it. No matter how much time or money you put into the game, you still agree to having this. They had a set agreement. You just can't go back on it just because. Okay, well, I see how much this game is making. I want some of that. Let me just throw Constantly off the project. Well, not throw him off the project, but basically rip ownership from him, and then rip also a certain amount of percentage from him. I'll let you guys. That's pretty much the entire situation. I haven't a clue what Zero and the rest of the developers, rest of the staff team is going to do. Constantly is working. I'm not too sure what's going to happen to the game. I would have to talk to Constantly about that. There would be an announcement, maybe even a podcast later with Constantine himself, explaining the situation a bit more, and or just announcement, just explaining what's going to happen to the game. Um, I really can't say anything much more on the situation because that's pretty much just the gist of it and how much I can tell you without exposing so much. Um, yeah, I'll let you guys think on that. That is pretty much from my point. I know I put my little opinion into it as well, but if you just look past my opinion, I'll let you think about whether Ciro or Quantity was in the right. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, Quantity was right. I'll let you think about it. Do you and it just comes to this. Do you feel as if after Cyril has spent, 5 or 6 months knowing he had a set agreement, right? That is right for him to lash out on Quantity just because 5% was given to him temporarily until Animated was able to grab that 55%. Do you think it was right for him to blackmail Quantity until giving him ownership and also additionally to that, decreasing Quantity's percentage of the game? I'll let you dwell on that. When you really put it, it doesn't matter how much time or effort or money someone put into the game. When you agree to something, you agree to it. You may very well argue about it later on, but you just can't blackmail someone and think they're gonna fall prey to that, right? In my opinion, he should have did this a long time ago, very very long time ago, because the payments I was seeing was way 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 back in March. This was a while ago. You could have said something in March once you spent that amount of money. And once again, I'm not going to say any numbers or percentages or any of that. Just know he spent some money. He feels entitled that he should get more percentage and ownership of the group, in which he should have talked to Quantity about that then and there, not asking for, because Quantity. I mean, Cyril has been getting more and more percentage as time go on because he kept pestering Quantity about it. He's like, and Quantity always gave in, but now they just want straight up ownership of everything, and then they also want to decrease his percentage and give it to them, in which he's been doing for a while, but now they just want just so much more. Um, Once again, I'll let you decide what's right. More than likely, I'm going to keep the Discord closed just so I don't have any people spamming everything. And yeah, I'm gonna just keep the Discord closed. For now. You have any questions?